I'm here with Dr. Tony Davis, the author of Forgiveness, Triumph Over Tragedy. How you doing today, Dr. Davis?
I'm doing great, my brother. How are you today?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much for taking the time. What inspires you to write this book, Forgiveness, Triumph Over Tragedy?
Wow, man, my story goes way back from 2003, when I was a victim of gang violence in Los Angeles. I was on my way to pick up my wife from work, and I was attacked by gang members. Never been a part of a gang, never shot anybody, but I was shot 5 times, 10 holes. I died for 30 minutes, clinically dead for 30 minutes, and had out of body experience and came back to life. And I remember being in a hospital room. They had pushed me in this ward called the amputation ward. It was going to cut off my left leg because one of the bullets shot it or shattered my femoral artery. So they put a plastic stent there and it wasn't sitting right and it wasn't working, is what the doctors told me. So they said we would have to go ahead and the leg is dead. We're going to amputate your leg. And we mistakenly cut a piece of your vocal cord trying to put air into your lungs, because I was clinically dead. So they was trying to get air and they rushed and tried to, put a trach there. So they mistakenly cut a piece of my vocal cord. So they told me I wasn't going to talk no more. Right. So that was just tragedy for me because I'm a gospel recording artist. I came from R&B back in the early 90s to, turn total gospel like 97, did my first album. So anyway, I had been singing a lot, right? And this happened. So I'll never forget, I was working on my third project, my third album with my group DDT, and this happened. And it was unbelievable. And so in that room, as I was struggling with my pain, you know, I had a visitation, from God, from the Holy Spirit. He said one word. He said, forgive. And I'm struggling with that thing, man, with this tube in my throat. Forgive. Look what they did to me. I never shot anybody. I never been a part of a gang. How can I forgive? And he said, if you forgive, I'll make you whole. I'm like, what? I struggle with that too, right? I'm like, no way, this can't be real. And if you forgive, I'll make you whole. Said it again. And I said, you know what? Forgiveness is not a feeling, it's a choice. I choose to forgive. So when I did that, man, the room got warm. And I know this sounds weird. I know folks like, man, that's off the wall, but this is my story. It's the true story, right? So my leg got warm and that same warm feeling, I just felt like stuff was coming together. It went to my throat and my throat felt like something was coming together in that. The next morning, the doctors came in the room right before the amputation. They touched the leg and they was teaching other doctors how to do amputation. There was about 7, 8 doctors in that room. And I felt the leg jump. I jumped my leg at least. And they were like, whoa. And the leg came back after I forgave. The leg came back and they pulled the trach off the next day and told me to say a word. And I said, Jesus. And my voice came back. And so I went on this quest of changing lives. And that's where the Stop the Violence came in with, and then my National Inquiry Speech Foundation years later. But yeah, so in that, I forgave. When I forgave, I received back everything that was taken away from me. So that's where I found my healing at. And from there, I went forth. I said, you know what? I wrote my first book, 5, called Heaven is Real. And now the current book is called Forgiveness, Triumph Over Tragedy, because when I think about it, I had to forgive in order to receive in order to triumph over my tragedy, I had to forgive. So that's why I wrote this incredible book, man. It's really great, called Forgiveness, Triumph Over Tragedy. That's a long shot, but I had to share the whole shenanigan of that.
Wow. You know, that I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And, being in Los Angeles, like, I'm very familiar, like, with gang violence. And usually gang members go after other gang members. But in your case, like, not being a gang member, like, this is probably like a gang initiation. Were the people who shot you brought to justice? Did they ever get prosecuted or?
That's exactly what it was. It was gang initiation. And man, here we go again with this weird thing that happened about after I was in after I came out of rehabilitation about took me about a month and a half. I remember because I had to learn how to walk again, all that stuff. Because when you die, everything leaves. I had to learn everything over again, like a baby. You know, you got to learn how to walk. It was just weird. So anyway, in that, the body at least. So in that, I end up coming out of there, and for about a month, I struggled with, you know what, God, you brought me back. I saw this vision of forgiveness, sharing a message of forgiveness. I saw this vision of what you told me to, to go forth and share forgiveness and triumph over tragedy. So I want to do that in this world. So I went forth to do that. And so I remember going over to those guys. I went back over there to the facility where my wife worked. Cause see, I had left my job. I was on my way to pick her up from her job when it happened. And when I went back over there was tape around the house. And the homeless guy came up to me and asked me, "Those are your people?" I said, "Yeah." No, I came to forgive, because I call myself going to go there to talk to folk, and try to change some lives. My thought, our young people doing this to the community, we need to try to do something without other than just, trying to put them to jail or, they're just my thought. We got to do something to change this cycle of vicious violence. And so that's why I went back over there to do that. And there was tape around the house, and I found out that through the guy that those guys, it was about, I don't know how many, 5, 8 of them involved, because they mapped out 32 shells around my dead body. 32. Out of that 32 shells, 5 of them is what hit me. 3 on one side, 2 on the other side, across my face and my chest. I felt the air of the bullets. But those same guys that shot me, they was killed by another gang. And
Wow.
that is crazy. I mean, the guy said that they went over there shooting at other gangs, and the other gang retaliated and ended up killing all those guys that was hanging around that home. It was an abandoned home, and they was hanging around that home. And unfortunately, they got killed by another gang. We live by the sword. Sometimes we die by that same sword. You know.
Wow. Karma is real. Like you you wrote the book Forgiveness Triumph Over Tragedy. And one of the main themes is, the power of forgiveness. Like how has forgiveness, transformed your life instead of opposed to you holding on to the bitterness of what happened to you, like some people do.
That is so true, man. The only way you can walk forth in life and to become the person that you're supposed to be, the the gift that you've been given to endure, to go through, to become that great person of your community, of the world, is to learn to let go of things that are bitter to you. I had to forgive. I had to let go of what those guys did to me, even though I didn't feel like it in my flesh, because, my flesh was like, you know what? I've never shot a gun before, but when I get up out of here, I'm gonna shoot everything over, cat, rat, dog. I'm gonna shoot I'm gonna learn how to shoot and I'm gonna get everything. That was my thought as I laid there before I forgave, right? I'm gonna retaliate because this shouldn't happen to me, man. I never shot nobody. I never been in a gang. Why would they shoot me out of all people? I have family members, my nephew, that like bad as all get out. They were like, Uncle Tony, man, I can't believe this happened to you, man. Me, but not you, because I didn't live that kind of lifestyle. My lifestyle came from singing, R&B in Hollywood to gospel. And so I didn't have those kind of friends or lifestyle. So that shouldn't have happened to me, but it did.
Yeah.
So in that, when I let go, I forgave. That's the only way I received healing, from what happened to me. Yeah.
You mentioned, being an R&B singer, and I know you moved from Orlando to Los Angeles to pursue your dream. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what was the path of like, being an R&B singer, and then how did you transition to gospel?
Wow, man. I came, let me just do my little circle. I'm originally from Mississippi, right?
Okay.
That's my original home roots. I grew
What,
up,
what part of Mississippi?
it's called Kent, Mississippi, right outside of
I know.
Jackson.
Okay, yeah. I used to live in Greenville.
Oh my goodness, man.
Yeah.
You've been around, man.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. You've been around, brother. Yeah, so I Canton, Mississippi, graduated high school 82, went to the local college, moved to my auntie said, gave me an opportunity to come on to Florida, to get out of Mississippi and learn, explore what you want to do in life. And I didn't like Orlando. Orlando was a great city, but it was tourists, hotel,
Yeah.
motel, every job, everything. I'm like, man, this is not for me right here, man. It's bigger than this. I feel something in my heart. And a friend of mine from home hey, man, I got a couch. You want to come on to LA? I'm like, where? I'm in LA. I don't know if you're near Florence and Crenshaw, right in that district. It's an apartment over
Yeah.
here. I got a couch. I said, man, I'm coming, bro. I've been there for 3 years. It's the hotel motel. So I jumped up and I moved out here to LA, and I went to United College of Business on Sunset doing that. It was in like 80, around 80, about 88, 89, somewhere in that swing, 88. And met a guy up in the lunchroom at the college there, and heard him singing. I was already trying to sing myself a little bit, and we formed a group and started singing, and it went from there, man. I started writing songs, and we landed a record deal with Playful Music. Playful Music was a subsidiary of Warner Brothers, so we were signed with Warner Brothers. Did an album, did some touring around here, opened up for a couple of people, Bobby Brown and Isabel Sanford of Jefferson. We did a show, did some backup with Anita Baker.
Okay.
So did a few things, in R&B, and all of a sudden, how it is. You're in Hollywood. I went to those parties, man.
Right.
Mulholland Drive. I went to the Magic Johnsons. I went to Luther Vandross and New Edition. I went to these parties, and I just got sick of that life, man. I
Yeah.
just saw it not going anywhere, and I got to be honest with you. I saw the sin of it all. I saw the darkness of it all. And then my mom was in my ear, stop singing that stuff and sing for the Lord, Tony. I'm like, there's no money in that, mama. You want me to sing for the Lord, but no money over there. So after just feeling real bad and dark and all that stuff, man, I'm like, you know what? I wasn't raised like this, man. Doing my little thing. I didn't do no heavy drugs, but I did some. And just got kind of deep in there a little bit there, and womanizer, all that stuff, and doing things, drinking a little bit. So I just said, I got to get out of this. I got to get out of this deal. It's not going anywhere. They they didn't release our album. They shut the group. I jumped up, man. I said, you know what? I'm out of this. And so I moved. I moved out of LA to get cleaned out. My heart, my soul, my spirit. I had to get out of there. So I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Went out to Atlanta, and classmates out there, and went to this church and kind of like changed my life around. So you know what? I want to totally change and sing for God. And I had to clip my little ponytail. I had a Jerry curl back then, bro. It's gone now, but back in them days we had the Jerry curl, right? So so I clipped the Jerry curl and the ponytail, and totally changed and began to write my songs into gospel. And so I came back to LA. I got married and everything out there. Came back to LA, and the producers locked the door on me, man. They be like, "Come on, man, we got another album to do, bro. What you doing, man?" I said, "Man, let's turn it to gospel, bro." Right there on Sunset, man. My boy, he turned me, man. He said, "Okay, Tony, you got to change your mind. Let me just let you air out a little bit. I got these few hits, man. I got these few heaters, bro. We gonna make this money. I got this, open door to go on this tour." I'm like, man, I just got this heart, man. Gotta have a change of heart. Listen to these new lyrics that I have for these songs. And okay, Tony, come back tomorrow. So I came back tomorrow, the next day, and the guy had locked the doors to the studio, man. Wouldn't even let me in there, man. And wouldn't even answer my calls anymore. They just went totally against me for changing my lifestyle and my life. And so I went from there, man. Just, you know what? I'm going to still pursue what was in my dreams. And I started, writing gospel. And I released my first gospel album in 1997. Lord, I thank you. And went from gospel ever since then. So that was my transition. I must admit, it has not been fruitful financially like the R&B was, but I has been, I must say God has been sustaining me, and I've been going on with life, and me and my wife been doing okay. So, but it's nothing like what it was in R&B. And let's be real about that, because people that fame and that fortune, man, it is there, but there's some consequences with it, where you deal with this side of evilness, this side of darkness, and this craziness that it draws you into when you're doing R&B on a certain level. It's just there, and everybody have their demon that they are battling with. I don't care who they are.
Right.
I've talked to a lot of them. I know.
Yeah.
I remember Smokey Robinson talking about he has his old demons that he battles with. So everybody has something that side of the equation, man. That R&B, it's a dark side there, and let's
And
just be real
the
about
funny thing about it is that a lot of times and stuff, the people who compromise their morality, like,
it.
financially, it doesn't even pay off like, like you think it would. Like, they don't have like, necessarily the wealth that you would think that they have. And then also like, they've compromised themselves morally and like, aren't at peace. So they have like, problems like, sleeping and like, drug
Oh,
addiction and stuff like that. Can you talk about like, just having a relationship with Jesus Christ and why that is so important?
yeah, man, you hit it on the dot, man. That's exactly what it's like over there. You think about Michael Jackson couldn't sleep.
Right.
Whitney was struggling. I mean, you look at the biggest of the biggest, and then the compromise, man, the compromise. I'm currently I mentor few people here and there, and in groups, and I speak to people about their life, about being, wanting to do R&B and the consequences of the sin of it all. Like you just said, man, the morality of it, the morals have to be lost in that, especially for the females and the males now. They want the male to do certain things in order to get through those doors. It's gotten worse than what it was when I was in that genre. But coming to gospel, man, I'm freedom from it. I'm free from a lot of junk. I'm real about what I do. Um, you know, um, let's be real. The financial part of it is not there. I didn't make the monies that I was making over in R&B. But I have the freedom from a lot of junk, and I'm able to sleep well. I have my peace and my morals. Even it has gotten dark too. If you look at it now, even gospel, they came into that genre, and a lot of that is dark. But you got to keep yourself. You got to keep your morals. You got to keep your wit of your what you believe in and what you're about. If you're really about worshiping God and being real in your spirit and doing the right things, you have that peace about your life, and that's where that's at, man. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about like, gospel artists and like there seems to be like, where I felt like gospel and secular used to be separate, but you see like a lot of times like, secular artists who like, promote like a lot of negativity, collaborating with gospel artists. Like, how do you feel about that?
Man, I think that's disgusting. I'm not going to say the names because I don't want to get into an argument with them. Some of them I know personally. I've done a lot of different. I've done a lot of shows, in the gospel arena. A lot of TBN. I don't know if you've heard of TBN, Trinity Broadcasting. I've done many, many shows over there. That's one of the major Christian networks. A lot of different things I've done in gospel, and I became at this point in my life, I'm disgusted with what I see. Like what Shirley Caesar said a few years ago, where's the oil? You may see the jumping and the screaming and the flipping and the flopping, and they got this persona of spirit is with them, and it's not, man. It's not. And I'm surprised that some of the big wigs that I know in the gospel, female and male, they've compromised themselves because of that money. See, man, I'm telling you, that's why the word says the love of money is the root of all evil. It doesn't say money is evil, because money, we need money to survive, to pay, and those things happen. Even Jesus was a carpenter. So money is a needed thing that we use in this earthly realm to survive and do things. But in the gospel, man, they tainted it so bad. It's hard to tell the difference for this new generation. And even pastors, man, I see some big wig pastors, those at the top, that are compromised because of that love of that money, man, and that power. And some of them, and it's amazing because when that spirit get on you about, and I felt that temptation before, not that deep though, but I felt, and that's why the Bible says we must kill flesh daily. It's a daily battle with your flesh. And that temptation comes because of what's in front of you. And because of what's offered, and you in certain rooms, and you seeing certain things, and certain things are offered, and that temptation is there. But here we go again. Do you have moral character? Do you have respect? Are you real about what you're doing? Are you doing it for the money, or are you doing it for God? Just, to change lives, to save souls, that they bring souls to be saved, as they say. What are you doing with your part that has been given to you? Because, man, it's just, again, I'm disgusted with some of those that know better, man. I saw this episode of this. I'm not going to say the name of, and I saw this lady on there, man, compromising in this episode of this preacher's thing, man. I'm like, why would you do something like that, man? You have millions of people watching you that over these years and respect you, and you choosing to do that, man, doing that kind of that sexual thing on on television. And I know it's because they offered a certain amount of money to her, and she went with it. And I'm seeing the same thing. I'm not gonna say the other names. I'll be arguing with these folks. He doing the same thing on stage, doing a certain dance because you compromise you with this rapper that's big time. He's making money, and you bringing that over and doing the same thing on the gospel stage that you did with him on his secular stage. And he's degrading women. He's doing crazy stuff, saying stuff, and it's just disgusting, man. It's hard right now. It's like the gospel has been tainted with foolishness. But if you real about what you're doing, you have to stay real, like what you said, with your morals, man, and just do the right thing. That's all. Just do the right things, and all these other things will be added to your life. But you don't have to compromise with all that stuff. And sometimes, yes, it take a little longer. That's okay. As you in the waiting room, you build character, relationships. You learn more. You develop certain skills and things that you didn't have before, because at that point in time, it's going to be great for you. Yeah.
Mentioned, there being so much sex and sexuality in media, like overall, like, I think about like a lot of like, the contemporary artists, like you listen to the radio, like I have young daughters, and like, there's certain artists and stuff that are pushing like, sexuality on our children. You see that in television shows. How can we get like, Jesus back into the media, like, to the forefront of like, where we're pushing like, good values. Like I don't really see that, like where we have artists and stuff that are pushing like, a good agenda sometimes.
You know, man, I think because it's been compromised so horribly right now. Um, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. I said, should there be a new generation of believers that really have that passion and that love to follow the steps of Jesus, of being righteous, in order to bring that, a seed of better generation behind them? Because it's hard right now. It's so hard to tell the difference. And them old hymns, this new generation, they don't want to hear it no more. And I just got to be real about my feeling about rap, man. I like some rap, very little. I love the one that you can totally understand what they're saying. But I feel like this is just me. I may get into a little argument. They may come at me a little bit there, but I just feel like, um, you know, certain portions of the rap, majority of that rap genre, man, has tainted our young people so badly, man, with the bling bling and the H's and the B's, and until that's all they feel that life can be like. And I noticed that, like, when I go to the South, to Mississippi, around my nephews, I'm watching them. I'm listening to what they're listening to. Everybody got like a red cup, you know, and everybody got the red cup, man. And that's what they walk with, man. That red cup, and they listen to that. That's all they listen to, that rap stuff, man. And it's like, I've tried to. I used to give them my CDs, and oh, like, check this out, check your uncle out, and yeah, it sounds good. They'll listen to it for a moment, but man, they go right back to that red cup, man.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me how it's like their spirits have got drenched with this negative vibe of rap junk, not the decent rap, but the stuff that it is and it's all over the radio. And now my thought is, who is controlling that? Who's behind putting all that stuff out there? And just think about this. Look at the music industry. Who is it that is, they give money to the most stupid, crazy looking jokers, man, to make our community look like we some food. They put money in that. They don't put money in something positive, encouraging, and nobody's standing up against that, because here we go again about that money. It's like, what about your people, man? What about your community? You're not gonna be here always. Your record here gonna get old. You better hope you get old, because a lot of you dying off, the devil comes snatching your life right away because you living in that certain lifestyle. So I don't know if it's gonna take a new generation or a miracle to change the mind of these jokers that's already established and doing foolishness. They need like a wake-up call, man. I thought COVID would wake up a lot of jokers, but look like it haven't did nothing to them. They still going with foolishness and stupid. So, hey, man, we just got to do a lot of praying. I think that people like you and I have friends too, got to stand for what is right, man. You got to have morals. You got to have some kind of dignity, man, some kind of self-esteem and respect for others, where you don't want to just pursue or push out stupid stuff, and especially do certain things to hurt and hinder our community or the community of people. We got to change that foolishness, man. So it's up to us as where we are. I'm the middle generation, as they say. I'm not the old yet, but I'm heading down that road. It's up to us to just stand for what is right. That's what I've been doing, and that's what been pursuing and pushing, is positive things and trying to make that difference that I'm not seeing, especially in the gospel, you know. And that's where I stand with that, man. I don't know if they need to die off, and if a seed is planted in something new, or there has to be a change in what's established right now. And again, Kobe didn't do it, but God has a way. You remember he sent death through the land of Israel. And if you didn't put that blood on your door, the death angel was going to meet you there. So maybe it's going to take something like that again. I thought Kobe was going to do it, but it did not. So we shall see. But God's not going to sit back, man, allow this to continue with this demonic spirit that's been plaguing his people, his creation. There's going to be a change somewhere. I don't know how, where. All I know is you and I got to stand for what is right and be the light that we can be for those that looking for a light, and not compromise with their stupidity. That's where I am with that.
Definitely. Well said, Dr. Tony Davis. You're also a movie producer. Can you talk a little bit about that role?
Yeah, man, I was blessed, brother. Here we go. At least my tragedy turned into a triumph in that area as well. Again, I did a lot of shows, Christian shows. I did 700 Club, Any Bio came did a special years ago. I Survived Beyond and Back. They still playing it to this day. I always get calls or emails. Man, I just saw you. Yeah. So a lot of TBN, a lot of different networks picked me up, and I did a lot of things in the Christian arena. And I never forget, man, because of my death experience, when God told me, I need you to go back and deliver a message to my people, a message of forgiveness and triumph over tragedy. That's my purpose. That's my destiny, right? He spoke that to my. And see, the thing about God doesn't speak to our flesh, right? People think he speaks to them ears. He's speaking to your spirit, man. He's speaking to that he created, that he blew breath into.
Right.
He spoke to my spirit, man. And while I was floating there in front of this window that was a cloud, and I saw this huge city inside, and I heard people talking. I saw images of people. I couldn't see the people themselves because of these clouds, and I saw colors I've never seen before. And I just felt this real love, man. Like everything will be all right. Everything is going to be fine. Everything's taken care of. You'll have no worries, no pain, no shame, nothing. All those cares of the world just go away from you. And you're a part of pure love, joy, and peace. I felt that, man. And I tried to stay there. I didn't want to come back. And when he told me that, when he spoke to my spirit, I need you to deliver this message of forgiveness. I'm like, wow. How am I going to do that? I don't have that. At that time, I didn't have those kinds of platforms. I didn't do anything great. I did a couple of shows on TBN and 700 Club, but I didn't So anyway, I, he, I heard this blow, and he blew the breath of life back in my body. So I came back here, and in that, I've been on this quest to do what he called me to do. My destiny and purpose. My purpose is to share a message of forgiveness and triumph over tragedy. That's my purpose. I know what I'm back for. And in that, I began to pursue it. You know, how do I share? What do I do? And then God spoke to me one day in my spirit. He said, "You're gonna do a movie." I'm like, "What? A movie? A movie costs millions of dollars. I don't have no money like that. How am I gonna get this done?" You know, I said, well, "I got to see this right here, brother, because I don't, I don't have anything near that. You know, I know it costs, to do things like that." So I began to. He told me to speak it right during my prayer time. He said, "Speak, begin to speak it," because the word says, "Speak those things as though they are." Right. So you begin to speak on certain things in your life. You can, because life and death is in the power of the tongue. You speak it, and things can go into emotion because we have that kind of authority through Jesus. That's we can. That's one of the powers that He has that we're not operating in. Speak it, believe it, seek it, and ye shall find. It's not going to drop out the sky. I used to think that, a plane going to drop me millions of dollars when I was in Mississippi. I used to think like, things going to happen. They don't just happen like that. It looks like it happens to some folks because they connected with their family members already being wealthy or popular. So they get these certain gifts in life, right? These golden spoons is already given to some, or they cousins or whomever are close to them. So that happens for some folks. But for the majority of the people, it don't happen. Seek and you shall find. So I began to speak it, man. I was on TBN speaking it. And I said, I don't know how it's going to happen, but God said, I'm going to do a movie. And my friend's like, bro, you can forget that one. I'm like, hey, we shall see. I kept speaking it. All of a sudden, brother, all of a sudden, I got a call from this pastor, this bishop, all the way. I'm thinking they're going to come from LA somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Even TBN, they told me they're going to didn't do nothing. Matt did. So anyway, I got a call from this bishop way over in Boston. Man, God put on my heart to sow this seed to do this film with you. I'm like, man, get off this phone, bro. Click. I hung up because I thought it was a game, man. I hung up on the guy, man. Get off this phone with that foolishness, man. Because I begin to doubt myself because it took a few it took a minute. It took almost a year of speaking that thing, man. Again, it don't happen overnight for everybody. Some folks get blessed. Hey, good for you. But for the majority, sometimes it takes a moment there, man. But you have to keep pursuing, keep believing, keep walking into that. So I did that, and he called back again, man, about 2 days later. Then I got an email. I'm like, who is this guy? I told my wife, I said, Chris, this guy keep on bothering me. She said, babe, see what he's about. I said, okay, sir, hello. Listen to me, brother. You don't believe me, but look, I want to do what I've been led to do. It's in my heart. I want to invest into your film. I saw you speaking about this thing and looked like to me it should have happened by now. I said, well, it happened. And you get on my nerve, keep calling him, brother. What's going on? And I said, I'll tell you what, if you're real about that, let me give you your account. I want you to put a deposit in that account to see if this is real, okay? He said, give me an account number. Like, okay, this is real, brother. This is the truth now. I know this unbelievable. Folks like, yeah, right, Tony. You had some money somewhere. No, brother, I didn't have it like that. He said, I gave that brother, this is God honest truth, man. I gave him an account number. Overnight, that man had deposited a lump sum of money to do that film. The next morning, I got up and I checked the account. I was like, whoa, I dropped it. I said, wait, this can't be real. I said, babe, look, check this out. I said, make sure that these numbers are right. And she picked up the phone and listened to the account. And she's like, babe, this guy did it for real. I said, whoa. So I called him back. I'm sorry. I called him back. And I'm like, hello, I got a different attitude with you now, bro. How you doing? How you doing, sir? And he said, look, man, I told you I'm real. I want to fly out there. I want to help you however I can do. I'm not a producer. I don't have the means to do it, but I just have the funding. And I want to make this film happen for you. And He said, the Bible says that you do unto a man that you would want to do unto you, and it would happen for you. So I'm sowing this into your ministry, and no contracts, no, this is real. I not signed no agreement, no contracts, no nothing. He said, he said, I don't trust you, but I trust the God in you. That's what he told me. And he came out, and I said, man, I got to do something with you besides sowing a seed into the. What do you want? What he said, well, if you will, just help me eventually do my story. But right now, let's focus on yours. And man, I went to Hollywood. We did the casting. I, brought producers on board and did the casting at the Hollywood Film Studio there. And anyway, so it went from there. And I remember looking for someone to do the voice, because I needed a voice of God, right? I needed a voice, right? And here we go again, brother. I called some of the big time preachers to be the voice of God. And one in particular, I'm not gonna say that name, but he's well known. He said, I'm gonna be there, man. I'll be there for you, Tone. I'll be there. I'm gonna do. I said, he never showed up for the casting. Everybody else was in place. I had about 500 folks showed up. I even had some ladies showing up to be Tony. I said, wait, baby, Tony is a real man. He's not no woman. He ain't wearing no skirts and no dresses, okay? so the pastor didn't show up, man. And so the team was like, where is this guy? I said, I don't know. And I'm like, man, so I called him and excuse me. I called him and he didn't show up again. I'm like, what happened? And then the third time he did it again, well, man, I got busy. I said, you joker. I said, look, you joker. Man, it costs money. I got these folks here on set and they waiting for you and they got to get paid. And it's coming out making me look foolish because you're not showing up. I said, forget you. I said, I'm done with you. And I hung up the phone, right? I'm just being real with you, brother. I'm just being real. And he had one of his members to call me, hey, such and such said he'll be there. I said, you tell that joker to find, there's an ocean right there where he lives. Tell him Joe jump in that ocean or find a lake somewhere and jump in that lake. That's what I told him, because that was just silly. Here you are in gospel when you're lying and you're not being real like you said you are. And your day will come. Your moment will come, joker. So that's just how I feel about people like that, and you swaying like you such a holy and righteous and good person. And behind the scene, you full of mess. I'm not going to say that name. I want to real bad, though, but I'm not going to do that.
Definitely, man.
My wife in the other room groaned, and she said, you better not. You better not. I'm not. So anyway, I was invited to a set. TVN invited me to come and went to this set, man. And guess who was on stage, man? Lo and behold, Lou Gossett Jr. was there.
Oh,
And
I've met him, man. Rest in peace to Lou Gossett.
Yeah, we went to his memorial on last month, to celebrate Lou, man. Lou was special to me and my wife, man. He was so special to us, man. So anyway, here go that voice again in my spirit. That's my voice right there. I'm like, Lou Gossett? How am I gonna get this guy? Now we talking about, this is over 10 years ago now. This is a long time ago. I'm like, how am I gonna get this guy? Okay. Speak, and you shall speak it into existence. I approached his secretary,